Hey guys, Fire here from InDepth Gaming, bringing you another game review. This time we're checking out Flat Kingdom Papers Cut Edition. This game is developed by GameStarter, published by Radalaka Games, and releases on March 31st, 2022 for a price of, unfortunately, we don't know. I would hope to maybe see this game hit somewhere between the $5 and $10 price point, but let's talk about it. I'll tell you what I think, and you can make a decision when it does hit the Xbox store here in a couple days. Flight Kingdom Paper Cut Edition is a platformer that is a little bit of a different style platformer, so we're going to boot up kind of a new game here just on a fresh account. I'll even do the regular difficult or easy difficulty just so I don't die a whole bunch while playing. I'm going to skip through the dialogue here, so I don't like to spoil things, but I do want to get into the game so you can kind of see how it starts up, and I'll share my thoughts. So ultimately, you're kind of a hero of a paper kingdom. I'm going to be beating little enemies and trying to restore the balance after some things have been kind of stolen in the kingdom and disrupting the world. There's kind of these 6 soulstone type things that have been stolen by this bad guy, and you basically are put on a quest to help retrieve the one, as well as the guy's daughter and a couple other things while you're going through. It's basically, it's almost like you're getting Thanos' jewels back and restoring the peace and balance, but in paper form with a medieval kind of theme. So your little guy is a little unique. The character you play at transforms into different shapes. This is based off of using your X, Y, B buttons on your controller, and using those shapes, you're going to be able to do different effects within the game. Different shapes will defeat different enemies in the game, and using this mechanic, you'll have to go around trying to figure out how to beat out the other characters and enemies and get to the end of levels. The game's pretty straightforward. Like, as you can see here, different shapes do different things. So this little triangle guy, I can run really fast. The little circle guy, I can, kind of jump and move around a lot. And then the square guy is kind of your big bruiser who can push things and really take up a lot of damage. And you just kind of use those different shapes while you're playing to figure out your best way to complete out the levels. All while playing, there's things that you can pick up from collectibles and coins, and you just kind of have to figure out which shape you can transform into that will allow you to get to the end of the level and also allow you to defeat the other enemies. The game is extremely straightforward, and honestly, there's nothing that's too overtly difficult when you are playing. You just kind of have to figure out the puzzles and best ways to complete out the levels while you are playing. The game does a pretty good job at teaching and explaining things to you, although there's going to be some frustrating parts when you are playing. So that's just kind of the nature of how this game works. And, it's kind of the nature of most games, let's be honest, so it's no real surprise there. The different shapes that you'll kind of transform into will also help set the standard for how you're going to beat different areas, but also some of the levels might give you a little bit of different pathing opportunities, and different bosses are going to have kind of different unique approaches. You might need to hit switches and do certain doors, as you can see us doing right now, to be able to complete out levels, or figure out different unique puzzles in those different areas. Most of the things in this game, I think, are fairly straightforward. I don't think you're going to run into too many things that are going to really stump you. The bosses, as you play them, you'll probably die once or twice, and then have to just kind of figure out the routine to get around them. As you're seeing here on screen, this is kind of the baddie guy who's taken the magic jewel that you're going to just be spending a while running around chasing him, trying to save the princess, and ultimately figuring out the best ways to do that while you're playing. Story-wise, this game kind of suffers the unfortunate effect of what most easy-esque style achievement games do. You will beat almost everything in this game in about 30 minutes. And unfortunately, you won't really need to play too far into the game to do that. But the game is also going to give you the opportunity in that time to meet multiple different bosses, and really let you decide if you want to continue playing further. I have played on my main account further into the game by about 2 hours, and I can say I think it's pretty enjoyable. If you want a fun little platform that has some kind of unique boss vibes, it's definitely one that's pretty neat to kind of experience. It definitely gave me a almost Paper Mario kind of vibe a little bit when I was playing. Not, something that's too overly difficult, and, something that I actually did enjoy while playing. As you can see here, we're just going to continue to pop more and more achievements because There's nothing that's honestly difficult when you're playing this game. You just have to kind of do a lot of rinse and repeating and figuring out how to get through the different areas. What I do enjoy the most about this game, though, is kind of just the pace. I'm a kind of a schmuck for platformers. I really enjoy them, so it's something that has always been a really fun thing for me when playing games, and like it's nice to see the variety in the different platformers that are hitting the console. But with that being said, the same amount of things that I enjoy about the game, it's also kind of replicated in already existing platformers that are kind of out there. So the game's doing a little bit of new stuff with its kind of characters changing ability to have to kind of morph your way around to figure out how to beat enemies. But at the same time, it also does some things that I wish, they would definitely change. I don't really see too many points into collecting coins outside of just kind of expanding your health. But when you can just play the game on the basic difficulty, it doesn't really matter, and you're not really gaining much out of it, so you're probably going to find yourself not caring too much about it. A lot of the extra dialogue that comes from the NPCs in the world also don't really add too much to the story, almost more of a nuisance at time when you are starting, so that is a thing to consider. Don't talk to everybody. You really don't need to. Honestly, save yourself some time and enjoy it. You don't really need to collect all the collectibles, which I would usually like to see in platformers. I need to collect all the coins in a level, where I need to do this or that in a level, and like you really don't have to in this game. And for me, that's definitely a pseudo miss because it's I don't know. It's just that's kind of a platformer 101 style effect. You collect collectibles in platformers, and this game really doesn't ask you to do that at all. And for me, that is kind of an unfortunate. As far as giving an opinion on a buy sale this game, I'm going to be kind of indifferent. I'm going to say you could probably buy the game if it comes in around that $5, $6, $7 price point. But if it's much beyond that, probably wait for sale. If you're a big fan of platformer games, I think you'll enjoy it. I like the kind of art style of this game and the kind of way it plays and the vibe. But there's nothing here that's like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely impressive, that stands out. It's just a nice, relaxing platformer. And, you can kind of gauge yourself if these are the type of games that you do enjoy. Outside of that, though, if you do want to see more gameplay or have any questions about the game, please let us know down in the comments as always. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll catch you next time.